Hi everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Spellbinders, and we're still looking at some past club kits that are still available if you are not a subscriber to the Large Die of the Month Club. Now this one's called Pop-Up Garden, and I just did a really different spin on this. It's really cute because you can have the pop-up on the inside of the card. I'm just going to do this a little bit differently. We're in the fall. It's close to Halloween. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create my background first. So I grabbed my black soot, faded jeans, wilted violet, and chipped sapphire. And I'm using a colored cardstock already. This is like a light periwinkle blue, I guess you could call it. I'm not being too neat, excuse me, when it comes to my Distress Oxides. Excuse me, I'm just getting my colors down. And I'm using my Nuvo sponges to apply the color. I'm really becoming a fan of these. They're just easy to grab, I'm just saying. So I'm keeping the light shade, making that be like where the moon's coming from, but behind clouds. And I'm just continuously blending those colors around, letting the purples come through. Now I'm really going to apply some of the black soot. This just looks absolutely horrible right now. I promise it. I think it gets somewhat better. But again, I used purples and lime greens and some oranges and the blacks and the grays. So it's going to have like a Halloween eerie theme, you know, not bright and chipper like you would think a pop-up garden would. I just had a lot of fun with this. So you can see I'm still applying my colors back there. I really like the way that it turned out, kind of different colors. And now I'm just going to ink around my pieces with the black soot. So instead of the vintage photo that if you've seen my previous videos that I love so much, nope, no vintage photo here. Black soot, though, is in an abundance for this card. So I'm going to create a mat in the purple. So I'm cutting this down to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then the panel, which is actually my Bristol, or just my regular cardstock there, I'm sorry about that. I've cut that one down, excuse me, to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'm going to use my tape runner to get this adhered onto my standard A2 size card base, which will be a side folding card base. Now again, this piece can sit inside of a card, so when you open it up, this is going to pop up. I kind of wanted to use it a different way. So I'm going to use it so that that piece pops up off of the front of my card. All right, so it'll still flatten down so that it'll go into an envelope. And then when they open it, that front piece will pull up, if that makes sense. So I'm just using my tape runner to set that down, and then just making sure that those pieces are secured. So you can see it'll, you know, wiggle, wiggle, folding back and forth. I've got some movement there. So a nice dimensional piece. I'm going to trim down the other and just add some black soot along that, because I want that to sit underneath that, so it covers, you know, those two side pieces coming in. So I'm just going to adhere that onto the inside. Yes, by the time I was done this project, wow, my fingers just really were black because I got it everywhere. So the sentiment is actually this panel that sits on the front, and there's a couple of them. This one says, "From me to you," and then the other one actually says, "Let love grow." But I thought this one was really cute. I found a piece of scrap black glitter paper And I'm just going to put that right on top of the purple. I love black and purple together. Favorite color combo ever. So I have that set. So now I have all of these flower stems and flowers cut. So this is going to be a little bit, but I did want to keep everything into the video so that you could see all the steps that I did to create this card. So now everything's just going to get a black soot touch. I'm going to take care of all of those stems and all of those bits and pieces that I have. Again, I used purples and blacks. I pulled in some grays and some like yellow orange color. But because I'm using that black soot, it's going to tone those colors down. So I just wanted this to be Halloween-y. That's the best way that I can say it, I guess. Just, you know, a little bit of Halloween going on there. It's something different. You know, sometimes, you know, we see a die or we see a stamped image, and sometimes, you know, can this be used for another season? Can this be used for another type of celebration? And as strange as this is, we can. Something so cheery and bright with flowers and stems and everything else. Just by changing your colors, changing your cardstock, adding a different shading like the black soot, you can give it a different feel, a different look to it. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just allows you to be able to stretch what you have in your stash, or something that, you know, you're really interested in purchasing. And there's times where I'll see something, I'm like, yeah, but am I only going to use that once? Am I only going to use that during this time? So this kind of, again, I had a lot of fun with it, because I'm like, okay, this could be really different. And I do love Halloween. I am a Halloween fan. I love looking at all the kids dressing up and what they come up with and all of that fun stuff. So now the fun begins. So we're going to set our stems in place first. Now I really love the way this lime green, even though it has that black soot on it, it just pops right off this background. So I really, really liked that. So I'm going to keep on adhering these. Some are going to go to the back, of course, and along the back on the card base, and then the others are going to be adhered to the front, so that when this pops up, you've got this 3D effect that's happening. So they'll come towards the front of the card when the recipient gets the card. Now there's something, I'll just say odd, that I'm going to do to one of these stems. So you'll see in a moment. So I'm using my art glitter glue just to adhere those into place. And I want to make sure that I have them at different heights, have them at different levels, and so forth. So we're just going to continue to place those in. So you can take what you have in your stash, and just because, you know, let's say maybe you have a flower die, you could possibly, you know, just by changing the colors, use that flower for the holidays, for a birthday, for Easter. And again, it's just simply changing the paper that you would use to cut that die. You know, when I think of Easter, I think of bright plaids and yellow and green. For Halloween, I think of purple and black. For birthdays, you know, again, bright colors, rainbows. Those are the things that I think of there. So with this die, and what's great is you get the two panels for your sentiment. You get all of the flowers, you get the stems, and then you have another piece that can actually help border your pop-up piece. So there is more that comes in this. I'm just not using that semicircle or semi-oval piece within this. Now I'm just layering up some of the flowers, making sure that I've got all kinds of different colors to help me pick up the smaller pieces. I'm using my wax pencil to pick those up so that I can add the accents to either the centers or the bottoms or the little tiny pieces that will come off of each of the flowers. So even though I'm using a lot of dark colors, I think the green helps. I know, that sounds weird, and you're all probably sitting there watching this going, where is she going with this card? Again, it's just a way to show that you can stretch out something. You know, try to look beyond what you're seeing. And again, simply by colors, simply by whether you use solid cardstock or you're using pattern papers. You know, you could give this piece a completely vintage feel by using vintage style pattern papers. And this would give it a completely different look. You could use rainbow colors. And again, this is going probably the normal look, but it would give that, again, completely a different look. So just by changing your colors, that's what kind of stretch out when it comes out to a die. When you're doing that, that's what really, when it comes to the die works, that's what can really draw you in and just give it a different feel, a different theme, a different outcome. So this is where I take this one flower and I droop it down, you know, like the flower fell off, because you can see I have that flower down on the ground there. But I wanted that one stem to be bent over. So I just used a little bit of liquid glue, you know, stuck it down there. We're just going to continue to add our flowers. So for the ones that are up front, the ones that are in the front panel, I am going to put a backing on them, and I'm going to use my tweezers to hold that in place, just in case when that's propped up, you know, if somebody should look behind, you know, you just won't see that green stem coming there. You'll actually see, and here I'm trying to catch that flower there. It was like a bug. Just to make sure that they can adhere, and there's just a black backing to those flowers, just to help give them, and they don't weigh them down so that they lay back down onto the card. I was worried about that, but that did not happen as well. So right there, that is our Halloween version of From Me to You. I just thought it was a little different. I'm going to come in with my white gel pen, and I'm just going to add some white dots. This is going to highlight the flowers and help make them stand out so that they don't get lost in that dark background, but help define them. So I'm just going to add some dots in lines or every so often around the curve, you know, to show that they have some dimension going on there. And that is our project. So I do hope you enjoyed this. Again, primary, stretch what you have in your stash. Look outside the box or the die, so to speak. But if you are still interested in this, and if you're not a subscriber, it is available for purchase. I will have it linked down below. Again, it is called the Pop-Up Garden. Along with this, I will have other links to the Spellbinders blog, to their inspiration gallery, and also to the other products that I used as well. If you should have any questions or comments, please leave those down below as well, and I will make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much if you made it this long watching my video. I do greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, I say thank you to you as well. Thank you for sticking around, and I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe. Make sure you ring the bell because you want to make sure you see the next video coming out, and hit the thumbs up. I hope everyone's having a great day, but always remember what's most important. Always be creative.